Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? DB here of the Tour Junkies, and it's the WGC HSBC from Shishan, China, with a lot of C's and a lot of she's and a lot of shans.
A lot of C's there, yeah.
And it's a great week to bet on some golf, and that's what we're here to help you do. I'm in a good mood tonight. Pat Perry, my co-host, is having. I think we got a little grumpy Pat action. I'm a little nervous about Pat tonight. I have a feeling that things could get a little iffy, but we're going to have a good time tonight. Apparently, he's got a great story for us. You almost got into a fight at a youth baseball game earlier this evening, right before you came on.
Actually, it was practice. It was just practice.
Okay. We talking about practice?
We're talking about practice.
Okay, well, can't wait to hear that story. I myself haven't heard it. It's fresh off the presses. We're obviously going to talk a little bit about Tiger and the fact that he won a Dyson Bladeless fan. We're going to talk about we got a new segment tonight that we're rolling out. You know, we've been rolling out these new segments gradually here, and we're going to roll out a new one tonight. It is called In Real Life, where Pat and I are, for whatever reason, this is a listener request, actually. We're just going to tell you what's going on with us in real life. Maybe a little bit of a bleed over from Pontificate with Pat that you get on the Chalk Bomb emails every week. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to have a good time. But of course, we're gonna hit the WGC. It's a big event. You know, you got a decent field, and we're gonna give you our DraftKings picks for that, our betting picks for that, fades, sleepers, all that good stuff. And I do have some picks for the alternate event, Pat, the Bermuda, being played at a brand new golf course, brand new alternate field event. I've got some betting picks for that, just a few that we'll go over, and try to get everybody some green screens and get a little money made this week. You good, bud?
Yeah, I'm all about.
What you drinking? What's the podcast juice?
Little Tito's with no free ads. One of these little things, lemonade flavored. So
Okay.
Keeping it easy. You know, these days with baseball going on, which is typically on Monday nights, and I'll get into some baseball talk later. I'm a little rushed. I got admitted in the fall, heading into some of the shows. And so I don't have a whole lot of time to get anything real fancy going. So if I can just splash this with some Tito's, that's all I need.
Okay.
So,
Yep. I'm back to my. I'm actually still drinking that stateside vodka that our boy Bill Brower delivered, and it is very, very smooth. And I can feel the lack of glutens, sugars, and carbs, and whatever kosher means. I can feel all of that in this beverage. It's great. Very refreshing.
Well, let me tell you this, going back to the beverage of choice, was it last week when you were talking, or 2 weeks ago, you were talking about the vino you were liking, the blend,
Cooper and
Thief.
Yes, Cooper and Thief.
You got an expensive taste there. That's not cheap, you know?
I mean, what would you expect? Would you expect anything different?
I'm just saying, I haven't tried it yet, but
it's
I do want to
very
try
good.
It. Looks good.
We did have a listener tweet us that they got it and they really enjoyed it. So, you know, if our golf advice sucks, which last week it did, hopefully our alcoholic beverage advice is worth its weight in salt. You know, maybe it's worth a listen.
Hey, Hideki was okay.
Yeah.
You weren't big on. At least I got that one right.
Yeah, the Tiger fade didn't really pan out too well. We'll you know. Hey, you know what else we got? You know, we're getting people into alcohol, which is great. You know, I haven't told you this, but I got a phone call from a friend of ours about 20 minutes before the show, Pat. Mr. Lawrence Tynes, two-time.
Oh, you got a call. Wow.
Two-time Super Bowl winning kicker for the New York Giants. LT called me, and we talked a little bit. You know, and he said he just listened to the interview that we did with Sebastian Kaplan, which if you've not listened to, you need to go and listen to that. He said he just finished listening to it, and he goes, you know what? I could get into this whole podcast thing. Like, this is actually pretty fun. I never really understood what people do listening to this thing, but I just, you know, I had to drop my kids off at soccer practice. I didn't want to sit in the parking lot, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to drive around in my truck and listen to the podcast, the Tour Junkies boys. So I figured it out, and I really enjoyed it. I'm like, Lawrence, you've been on the podcast before. This is your first.
He didn't even listen to himself.
No, he was like, well, I don't really drive a whole lot. I'm not in my car a lot, but I get why people really like this thing. Like, it was a lot. It was entertaining. I really enjoyed it, boys. Thank you. And I was like, LT, no, thank you for interrupting my dinner and telling me that. There's no one I would rather have call me. And then I got to go back to the table and say, I'm sorry, y'all. when a Super Bowl winner calls you, you just have to you have to answer. And my boys were like, "What?" And then I was like, "Oh, he's a kicker."
Did you comment about his teeth?
I did. I told him he had amazing teeth.
Yeah, I told their whole family after the call. Did you say, let me tell you something? The only thing I got out of that call, besides the fact that he's listened to a pod, is that I need y'all to know about teeth and white teeth and how good it is to have white teeth.
Yeah.
Did you talk to them about that?
I failed to mention that one.
Okay. Anyway, all right.
That's an inside joke for the listeners. I drunk dialed Lawrence Tynes when I was at our fantasy football draft. I drunk FaceTimed him. And apparently just at midnight felt like telling him that him and his wife had amazing teeth. And they really do. They have great teeth.
The funny little part about that, too, is the fact that we banned kickers from the – so
for the first year. For the first year.
Yeah. Not only had we banned kickers from being being in the league – or not in the league, but, you couldn't choose pick kickers. No more kickers. You actually called a kicker for advice, which is just I don't know. Did you tell him that, by the way, that you didn't allow kickers in your league?
Absolutely not. I would never tell him that.
Well, he's now listening, so he probably knows now.
He probably won't listen to this one. He won't listen to this one. All right, Pat, let's get to the course breakdown. We don't want to delay this any longer. We'll have people going, why don't you guys start the course breakdown earlier? They don't have to skip. Okay,
so let's go ahead and talk the WGC HSBC Championship. This is now 3 weeks in a row where we have a no-cut event.
78-man field.
Players in Shanghai, China at Shishan International Golf Club. This is, by the way, one of the
Shishan.
Whatever. I like it. Okay. Shishan. One of the most exclusive clubs, by the way, in China. Very exclusive.
Yeah.
Par 72, 7,264 yards, give or take a yard. Bent grass greens again this week that are going to be running super quick, and they're very undulating. So I think that's important to know. These are good greens. They're very they're pure. So I'm going to be definitely looking at guys that can putt well on bent grass greens. The course really itself is not that difficult. I mean, it's kind of all right there in front of you. Your typical par 72, you got 4 par 5s. They play 550, 603, 563, and 538 yards. So 3 of those par 5s are gettable for almost everybody in the field for the most part. So I think par 5 scoring is going to be something that's going to be key. You got just wide sort of tree-lined fairways. The rough isn't all that penal. So it does lend itself to bombers doing, playing pretty well here. You've seen that in the past with the champions. But, I don't know. There's some of these guys that, that have played well aren't all bombers, but I do think it definitely lends itself to that because you also have a drivable par 4, which is the 16th hole. So another hole that these guys can get after if they have some length. As far as around the greens here, you do have some kind of steep runoffs. Definitely some good bunkering around these greens. The weather can be a factor here when this course is played hard, but I looked at it real quick, and it's perfect. I mean, it's literally perfect. No wind right now. So
no typhoons? No typhoons or anything?
No typhoons. I think it's going to be just an absolute perfect week. So you want to look at the guys that are, hitting the ball well. They're ball striking fools right now. We do have some good course history here dating back to 2013 when DJ won. They played here. So you had DJ. Well, we'll go back. We'll start with Xander won last year. You had Justin Rose in 2017, Hideki in 2016, Russell Knox in 2015, and then Bubba back in 2014. So I don't know, not a whole lot special about this course. I just think it's a good course, but I'm definitely weighing the guys who've got good history here, who are in good form and putting well on bent grass greens, and giving themselves opportunities. Opportunities gained, I think, is going to be an important stat this week. One of those fantasy national stats that I love to look at. And then I mentioned par 5 scoring. So that's it. That's all I've got for Shishan International Golf Club. Bang.
I like it, Pat. Very well done. Succinct and effective. I like that. Yeah, it's a bombers track. You had Russell Knox, which was kind of an outlier. Other than that, this place is built for the long ball. Again, one of my favorite quotes to come out of the fall season so far is you, and that is to bomb this course all over the place. I think that is exactly what our boys are going to do. I think
what's funny is doing some research, I noticed, was it when Bubba won in 2014 that Tim Clark was in the playoff with them, or
Yes.
that, so that was I was like, that is like you couldn't have two more opposite style golfers. But I think when you really, if you just want to look at it in general, that was probably an outlier here. I think that
safe to
certainly,
say.
yeah. I think this is definitely.
I think you outdrive Tim Clark. I think you could probably hit it farther.
I probably do.
Hey, Pat, and by the way, I got to say, you look very clear tonight. This is good. I'm not seeing any pixelation. You don't look like Wreck-It Ralph when he got unplugged or something. Like, you look good, man. You look really good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You got a new Bad Birdie shirt, by the way.
I did.
I noticed that.
This looks good, dude. I got a lot of compliments on this shirt today. Lots of compliments on this shirt.
Yeah. I'm rocking a little Augusta brand 1736.
Repping Charles Kelly. Repping Charles Kelly's brand. That's his brand.
Great podcast, by the way. We did an interview with him just a couple weeks ago. Need to go listen to that.
100%. So, yeah, I don't have anything to add. I mean, the Bombers, you mentioned that drivable par 4 as well as the 4 par 5s. It's kind of like, man, make your money on those holes, get by with par, the occasional birdie on the others, and let's move on. So I'm definitely agreeing with you. I'm looking at strokes gained off the tee, especially Bombers. Your aggressive scorers, guys who hit greens in regulation on a regular basis, opportunities gained. You mentioned that. I love it. Strokes gained approach, yep. And then looking at the last 100 rounds, bent grass, putters. I still that's kind of my move in terms of stats. But, here's what we're learning. And I learned it the hard way last week because apparently I totally misread a lot of ownership issues. And so, no, you know what I did last week? Remember this? Remember this text I sent you on Wednesday night? I had a very busy Wednesday, and literally at 6, I got like a Periscope notification at like 6:58 p.m. Eastern, and it was like Tiger on the range getting ready for round 1, and I'm like, crap! I had all my dummy lineups. I had not changed my dummy lineups because I wasn't used to the time, and I would go in the kitchen. I start trying to. I got one lineup changed. That's it. So I just got kicked in the dick all weekend long. So the dummy lineup did not work out. Lesson to the kids, don't do that. Just remember this Asia thing is really messing me up. They're a whole day ahead of us. So anyway, I didn't do so well, but I think, man, you got to have some ownership leverage. I mean, Tiger was like on average, I think 11% owned last week. Hideki was around 15, so he was a little chalky. Your perfect lineup would have been Tiger, Hideki, Sung J M, Billy Horschel, Ryan Palmer, and Keegan Bradley. Basically, Decky and M were the more chalky plays, and other than that, it was all some good pivots there. So I'm looking. I mean, ownership's got to be key if you're playing in tournaments. In terms of betting, I'm doing similar to what I did last week. A lot of guys in that mid range. I'd rather have some more exposure to those guys. But I do have a couple long shots that I want to look at as well. So I'm with you. I will say, though, this 9K and above range as we start there on DraftKings, Pat, I cannot. I mean, first of all, it's very hard to fade somebody in this range. This is a pretty strong top tier. I have 7 names written down, and I literally don't care. I guess at this point I'm just going to say if I have to pick 3, I'm going to pick the 3 that come in the lowest owned. That's all. Who are your guys? Have you nailed down your 3 in the 9K range?
I have.
Who you got?
So I'll start at the top. I mean, I like Rory this week. I mean, the guy absolutely fits this course well. I mean, he's obviously an incredible driver of the golf ball. He's going to fit all the stat categories that you're looking at as far as strokes gained off the tee, greens in regulation. I mean, he's got it's not last year he did not play well on this course, but I'm okay with that. He finished T4 in 2017. He was T11 in 2016. Kind of backdoored into it. Is he like the backdoor king when it comes to a good finish with this T3 last week at the Zozo Championship? I really did. I don't think I watched a fair amount of coverage of it. And I don't recall seeing many shots that he hit. Maybe I just tuned in at the wrong times because it was at weird times. But,
yeah.
He had a T3 last week at the Zozo, in case you don't know. But overall, I think Rory, even at 11.7, I'm okay with that price. Across the board, literally 1 in strokes gained off the tee, 1 in par 5 scoring, fourth in opportunities gained. He's second in ball striking. So I love some Rory this week, and I will play him.
He was one of the 7 I have written down. Yeah.
And he's been in pretty good form, so I like that as well. I like Henrik Stenson at 9,800. Now, here's the thing. He's coming out. This is an ownership play for me. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a dip in ownership for him. He missed the cut at the Houston Open. He's played, I guess, mostly exclusively Europe. Well, besides the Houston Open, but I just think that this is a week for him to do well. And you look at the history here. He's got 2 straight second place finishes in 2018 and 2017, a T11 in 2016. So plays this course well. I think Stenson overall, and look, he's not necessarily a bomber, but he's a guy that's going to, he can definitely score. I think we're going to get low ownership this week. He's gained 40 strokes on the field in the last 5 years in this event. So I like some Henrik Stenson at 9,800. He will be another one of my GPP plays. My last one is going to be Ben On at 9,100. Now, I'm interested to see what his ownership level is going to be like. And he doesn't have the greatest – I think it is going to be high. You might even can throw him in as a cash play. But the guy has just been so solid this year. I mean, you look at the last couple events. I don't know why I haven't played him. It's like for some reason I'm avoiding him, but I don't know what it is. T8 at the Zozo, T6 at the CJ Cup. He missed 2 cuts at the Shriners in the Safeway, but then at the Sanderson Farms he was 3rd. So I like Ben On at 9,100. I think he's a good GPP play. And then another guy that I think could probably be a tournament play, but I'm going to give you an extra name because I just want to put him in there, and that's Tony Finau. I think he is, again, primed to win here. Missed out with the playoff last year with Xander and did not get it done. But this is a perfect course fit for him. And you know what? People don't seem to understand how, he's not traditionally known as a great putter, but he is on bent. He has shown us that at the Masters. Like, I think going into the Masters podcast, we talk about how, we're worried about his putting. We're worried about his putting. But he putts well on bent grass greens. I mean, I think he's like, literally, let's see. I have it up here. Hang on. Give me a second. Did I write it down? Anyway, he is a good putter on bent grass greens, so I do like that for Tony Finau. I think his game is just perfect for this course, so I think you can play him in tournaments as well, but I'd love him in cash at 9,700. My fade is going to be Fleetwood. I don't know. I mean, I love all the people here in this range, but I don't know what's wrong with his game. It just doesn't seem to be right. I mean, you look at the stats. He typically is kind of like the stat king, but across the board, other than greens and regulation, I mean, he's not checking the box in opportunities gained. He's not working out too well in par 5 scoring, not in ball striking. I mean, he's 29th in the field in ball striking, but in a 78-player field. I mean, you typically see Fleetwood top 10 at least in the field in ball striking. That's like where he lies. That's where he stays week to week. But his game's just not there right now, so I'm going to fade some Fleetwood, and we haven't seen him do anything. I mean, you look at those last 2 tournaments, he just hasn't played all that great. So, I mean, he's 22nd to Zozo, but that doesn't matter. I mean, whatever. He's just not doing anything. For a guy priced at $9,900, I want more. I want more than 22nd at the Zozo and 20th at the CJ Cup. So Fleetwood is going to be my fade. There you go. I feel like I've talked for an hour, and it may have been 10 minutes, but I feel like I just talked for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, you went on and did your thing on that one. That's fine though. You know what, buddy? You deserve it. You deserve it. You've had a stressful night. I want you to be able to vent. I want you to be able to get it all off your chest and really explain yourself and make up stats. All right, so you named a couple guys that I had written down. Rory, Byung-Hun An, and Tony Finau I had written down. I'm gonna go ahead and say I think Finau and An are going to be 2 of the chalkier plays in the 9K and above range. So if you're wanting to eat some chalk, I think those are the 2 guys you play, and I agree with you. I like both of them. I'm going to go with Paul Casey. We saw him play. He's got good history here. Obviously, he's a tremendous ball striker. I get a little price break on him. I think Casey could could pop up and be a little lower owned at 10K. It is Paul Casey. You know, people like, you know, I mean, he usually doesn't slip under the radar by any means, but he's gained 27 strokes at this event in the last 5 years, and he just checks every single stinking box. So I'm going to lean Paul Casey. And then I think I'm going to go with Byung-Hun An, even though you mentioned him. I feel good about it. I like the price at 9,100. You know, and it feels better to play Byung-Hun An when it's not a cut event. You're not sweating the 6-footers for birdie to make the cut on the last day. But he's just scoring really well right now. I think he's comfortable. I think he's I don't know. I just think he's feeling good. So I like Byung-Hun An. But I'm going to go Justin Rose with my third pick. We haven't seen him play. His last event was the European Tour. We played pretty good. Justin Rose. He's checking every single box. I mean, Jay Rose is doing it. He's third. He finished third in this event last year. Finished first the year before as a winner in 2018. I think Rose could be a lost man. Maybe that's my projections for right now. He could be kind of the lost man in this 10K range. Xander, your defending champ, played decent last week. You know, you got Paul Casey down there and Fleetwood and Finau, and I don't know. I feel like Rose could possibly get lost in the old ownership shuffle.
I like that.
My cash play is going to be Paul Casey. I just think I think it's a safe cash play. I don't mind the Byung-Hun An cash move either. But actually, you could fit both of them in cash because there's a few guys in the 6K that you can round out some lineups. Here's where it's going to get interesting. My fade is none other than Henrik Stenson. He was, to me, the easiest fade in this range. Now, obviously, the course history is pretty good. You know, did miss the cut of the Houston Open, which you mentioned, but even when I just look at the stats, over the last 12 rounds that he's played, it's not good. He's not gaining strokes off the tee. He's in the bottom half of this field in strokes gained off the tee, opportunities gained, and greens in regulation gained over the last 12 rounds. And he's 44th in this field in strokes gained putting on bent grass over the last 100 rounds. And I actually think Stenson, I don't know, I feel like Stenson might get some ownership. Even though he missed a cut at the Houston, I mean, his course record here is that good. You said it. I mean, 41 strokes gained in just 4 attempts over his last 5 years at this event. So I think he actually could get a little bump in ownership. Maybe not. But I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a little higher owned than you think.
Yeah. Again, this is such. I mean,
the top this 9K tier. I mean, I literally Stenson is the only one I could find that I feel like is a justifiable. I could find a reason to justify.
It's just surprising that you don't throw Spieth in there, but the guy's going to be 4 or 5% owned, and you're getting in a tournament lineup.
The fairways here are generous.
They're generous fairways, and he
scores
puts well on bent.
Yeah, and he scores. I'm not going to fade Spieth. All right, let's get to the 8K range. Spend enough time there. So as difficult for me as the 9K and above range was on DraftKings, I think the 8K range is pretty cut and dry. There are 2 players here that I like, and it was not hard for me to figure this group out. I'm going to keep going back to the chalky well of Corey Connors because it is just chalky goodness, and I absolutely love it. I will continue to buy into Corey Connors because the guy's just a ball-striking son of a gun. He checks every single ball-striking box there is, and he's 45-1 over on my bookie. This is his first time playing in this event, obviously, but I don't really think that hasn't proven to really matter a whole lot. He is going to be the chalk, so get ready for that. But I think my next pick here in the 8K range will probably not be the chalk, and that is Sergio Garcia at $8,000. We were both on him for the CJ Cup. He finished 60th, and that bummed me out. Then he finishes 33rd just this past week at the Zozo. He hasn't played this event since 2017. He finished 9th in 2017, 11th in 16, and 28th in 2015. But I don't know. I just got ownership leverage is what it is. So I love the strokes gained off the tee numbers. He putts very well on bent grass. He's in the top 25% of the field on bent grass putting over the last 100 rounds. And he's 16th in this field on par 5 scoring over the last 100 rounds. I did take a long-term look at par 5 scoring. I wanted to see historically, more long-term, who does well on par fives? Sergio checks that box. Recently, the iron play hasn't been great, but I'm hoping that comes around. We did see an improvement from CJ to Zozo, so I'm hoping that that and a little ownership leverage plus a little price savings at 8,000 is a recipe for some goodness. But those are easy two picks for me. The cash play is Corey Connors, no brainer there, and the fade is Francesco Molinari, who doesn't check a lot of boxes on a course that fits the bomber. Not that he's short. He's not that short, honestly. But he's not. He doesn't have what I want him to have. Doesn't check the box in par 5 scoring or bent grass putting. Iron play has been okay, but it hasn't been what we know of Francesco Molinari, like deadly Francesco. Iron play has not been there. He did have a T6 here in 2017, but other than that, hasn't cracked the top 40. As Francesco, so I think he's the fade.
Well, I like that actually, and I'm not gonna. So we'll go move quickly through this 8K range, and sometimes I feel like there's a need for me to compound whatever the word is on the fact that your fade is the same as mine, but it's the same as mine. I don't really have any other reasons, so let's just move on. Same fade for us. And same cash play in Corey Connors. I love him at 8,200. I don't know why I faded him a few weeks ago. I'm an idiot. But I did. But yeah,
he's going to
dude
finish dead last.
He probably is. So yeah, I like him. And you can play him in cash or GPPs. For me, I'm going to play, and this guy has disappointed lately, and that's why I'm wondering if his ownership is going to get a little bit of a sort of a downward. We'll see what happens, but I like some Rafa Cabrera-Bello here at 8,500. Look, the guy has just not performed that great lately, and I think he's pissing off a lot of people because a lot of people have been on him. But you know what? You look at his history here. He has not finished worse than T19 in 2017. He was top 5 here in 2018, T14 last year. I just think Cabrera-Bello is going to get, he just hasn't lived up to what everybody's wanted him to live up to lately. I think you were on him last week. But 30th in the Zozo Championship, 26th at the CJ Cup, short field events again, not really doing anything. But I like Rafa this week. I think this is a good time to play him. I think you're getting him cheap. This is kind of like just the sort of the buy low candidate for the week because not the price, but I just think his ownership is going to be a little bit lower. We're getting a little bump there. So I like Rafa Cabrera-Bello, and I like Tyrrell Hatton. Yeah, he was a guy that I talked about at the CJ Cup. If you get the chalk bomb and you get my players that I like later in the week, he was one that I wrote up. I did not mention him on the podcast, but he was a guy that I talked about in that email that I thought would have a good week, and he did. He finished 6th at the CJ Cup, so I do like some Tyrrell Hatton. He's played very well recently on the European Tour. You look at his last several events, he has not finished worse than 18th in his last 3 events. Looking at stats, he's 9th in the field in ball striking. He's 5th in the field in greens and regulation, checks the box in par 5 scoring. So I like some Tyrrell Hatton here at 8,600. So there you go.
Whew, you're a little long-winded tonight, Pat. Maybe that's why you almost got in a fight earlier today. Were you running your mouth too much?
Yeah, I was.
A couple things to update you on YouTube. Number one, our boy Ben Little has joined. The Chalk Bomb author and Tour Junkies contributor Ben Little. Happy to see him in the room. Appreciate it, Ben. And then Josh Kistler just said, I'm mesmerized by Pat's crystal clear feed tonight. Pat in HD is titillating. That's a little inside joke from last week.
Did we ever figure out the right spelling of that?
Yeah, we figured it out on the podcast. It was titillating.
Okay.
Not tint-elating. Hey, since you're already on a roll and I need a refill, why don't you go ahead and hit the people with your 7K plays, and then I'm gonna go get a refill.
All right, so I am going to start the 7K range here. We'll start with my GPP plays, and it's going to be Eric Van Rooyen at 7,500. I love him this week. a guy that's just been in great recent form. He's got a win and 3 top 15 finishes in his last 7 European starts. When you look at the stats, I mean, literally across the board, he is just balling out. He's 4th in ball striking in the field, 4th off the tee, 6th in par 5 scoring, 9th in greens in regulation, 10th in opportunities gained. So I think all EVR at 7,500 is a fantastic play this week. You might even look at him in cash. So I think that's actually, you know what? He's going to be my cash play. I'm going to go with Eric Van Rooyen in cash. And then I'm going to go with another guy I wrote up in the chalk bomb is one of my later plays in the week, my sommelier, the guys that I wasn't on early in the week, but I was on later, and that is Andrew Putnam. Now, you're not going to see him really pop a whole lot when it comes to the stats. Golly, David, you're making a ton of noise over there. Are you doing that on purpose? Can everybody hear that? I don't even know if people can hear that. Okay, well, if it's ear piercing right now. But anyway, so Andrew Putnam finished very well here last year with a T4 finish. I like that. He's certainly going to be low owned. Nobody ever wants to play Andrew Putnam, but he's just a solid golfer. I mean, he is what he is.
Hey Pat.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm back. Are you easily offended tonight?
I don't know. I could be.
Okay, I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong, but I kind of want to tell you that you're wrong. Only for the listener's sake.
Go. Well, I don't know. Go with what you're going to say.
Last week, on average, Andrew Putnam was owned at 21%. The week before at the CJ Cup, 14%. So I think our days of low-owned Andrew Putnam are no longer.
Okay, whatever. I still like him this week.
Yeah, you can like him. You can like him. I would love for you to like him. I'm just saying he is not going to be under the radar. I just want you to know. I want you to know, too. That was actually for you, too. I don't want you to be building lineups.
I appreciate that. Well, maybe
friends don't let friends think that Andrew Putnam's not chalky.
59 last week when he was highly owned, people are going to take him down a few notches.
Hey, go ahead and kiss your brain. Kiss your brain for me. No, you got to kiss your brain. Yeah, that was a good thought by you. Maybe you're right. Maybe after 21% owned, giving a little 59er, maybe he will be low owned. See, maybe actually you were ahead of it. Maybe you were already ahead of it,
maybe
and I was
ahead of it. We're going positive here. I like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Ownership is so freaking stupid when you have 78 players in the field and it's world whatever, the fucking WGC event. Sorry for the kids that are listening.
Oh, Lord.
God, where was I?
You gave us EVR and Andrew Putnam as your first 2 tournament plays in the 7K range.
Another guy. Now,
and you also pissed and moaned about me getting ice.
I know nobody is going to play this guy, but I can't help myself at 7.
What's his name? Like Rory McIlroy? Nobody's going to play him or something?
Mickelson.
You're right. Nobody's going to play him.
I love him on fast greens and, the bent grass.
Are these fast?
Everything. Dude, they're going to be super quick. Yeah, they're going to be super quick.
Okay.
Super quick, I'm telling you.
All right, well, that sounds like you're really going to screw up your lineups in the 7K range.
Top 15 here 2 years ago. Look, I think Mickelson is a good play. I'm just telling you. I think he's a good play this week.
Hey.
I liked Poulter in cash. He's in good form. He's got great course history here, so I like him there. My fades are going to be Kiz and Keegan at 7,000. Everybody's going to want to play Keegan at 7,000, but I just don't. I don't see it.
It is a cheap price. That's a cheap price.
Yeah, so I'm not going to play some Keegan at 7,000. Kiz, I just haven't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's such a wild card when you go overseas. Like he finished second here a few years ago.
He does like a good money grab though, but that was last week too.
But I don't know. I just don't know about Kiz, and the price is enticing at 7,200. So, and he does putt pretty well on bent grass greens, but I'm just not a fan of his this week. So I'm gonna be fading Kiz. So there you go. I feel like the 7K range suffers the most during baseball season. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now.
Okay, yeah, this is a
I'm
tough.
basically telling you don't listen to me in this range. Like,
yeah.
just go. Like, especially when David leaves me on my own while I'm like he's going to fill his drink, and all I can hear is ice rattling in my ear and everything else. So fade me, go with whatever DB says here.
Well, that's a lot of pressure. I will say that the Eric Van Rooyen pick, I was intrigued by. You don't see a lot of full-time European Tour players win WGC events very often, but I think EVR's got a pedigree that could get it done. He's also at 70-1 on my bookie, but I'm gonna go with Louis Oosthuizen to start at 60-1. I like that value for old Louis. We saw him shake the rust off just this past week at the Zozo. Finished 46th. Nothing to write home about. But and he doesn't have a whole lot of history here. He hadn't played here in a few years, but man, he checks a lot of boxes. Always scores well on par fives, gains strokes off the tee, putts well on bent grass, and in the last 12 rounds, third in strokes gained approach, fifth in opportunities gained. Always a green in regulation monster. Love Louis here at 7,600. That's probably where I'm going to start tournament lineups, and then I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to get on a little Hao Tong Lee. I'm going to pull another
like
Euro here.
He was like the one guy I didn't mention that I had listed. So.
Well, he's played here a lot. He likes this tournament. Obviously, he's gotten sponsors exemptions here in the past. Finished 11th here last year. His best finish was a 7th in 2016. He's been playing pretty much full time on the European Tour, but he's always been a long hitter. He's an aggressive player, can score on par fives, and I do think you're going to get a nice little bit of ownership leverage out of both Louis and Hao Tong. And then I'm going to go with Keegan. I can't, you said it was a sucker play, but you also said for people not to listen to you. So, he's already over there. He's well adjusted. He finished 6th at this event just last year, finished 13th this past week at the Zozo. And, Keegan checks boxes. He gains strokes off the tee. His iron play is usually pretty good. When he gets hot, he can score. He's at $7,000. Like that's pretty freaking cheap. So I think I'll take Keegan in cash. I'm rolling with CH3, man. I like where Charles is at right now. I like how he's playing. Checks the box in all of your iron metrics. Checks the box in putting on bent grass. Checks the box in par 5 scoring over the last 100 rounds. This is not his first time. He played here in 2018 for the first time. Finished 15th. Not too shabby. Finished 8th last week. He had a T4 at the Safeway. Like Charles is playing really good right now. He's a bomber, so I think he fits the bill at 7,900. I like him in cash. I'm going to fade Adam Hadwin, and I'm going to fade Kevin Na. Hadwin just didn't do what we thought he was going to do last week on a and hey, here's a little tip for the listeners. If you're not subscribed to the Chalk Bomb, one thing you missed last week was we talked to a caddy right after he had walked off the golf course at the Pro-Am on Wednesday, and he gave us a little insight into that golf course last week that we did not know on the podcast. And we kind of picked players based on that, and then had to change it up a little bit. So I ended up with 0 Adam Hadwin after hearing from it. And if you had the Chalk Bomb email, you would have seen exactly what our caddy friend told us. So if you haven't subscribed, go to tourjunkies.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and put your email address there in the bottom right-hand corner for the Chalk Bomb. We did get some late-breaking information on that golf course, and it got me off of Adam Hadwin. And, just a bomber's course. Adam Hadwin, not a bomber. Kevin Na would be my other fade. Didn't play well last week at the Zozo. Does not have a good history here. No better than a T20, but that was in 2015. A bunch of 50-something places here recently. So Hadwin and Na are the fades for me. Anything to add there, Patrick?
It's all. I'm good.
All right.
Done.
Thank you, sir. All right, in the 6K. By the way, Louis is at 60-1. Hao Tong is at 75-1 on my bookie. Keegan at 100-1, I think is interesting. I think something's going on with that. It's a big number for a guy who just finished 13th, finished 6th last year, major champion, winner on the PGA Tour. I don't know. I think 100-1 to be longer odds than Hao Tong and EVR. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, but I like Hao Tong Lee, who's at 75-1.
Yeah.
I think that's a good bet there. Just looking at the odds. So
I've got a few honorable mention guys in there too that maybe in the email I'll throw in there. Getting down into the 6K range, I got some guys here that I think I might bet as well.
I have a guy I think you're probably going to mention.
Who's that?
I don't know how to say his first name, but his last name is Zhang.
Yeah, Xinjun Zhang.
I love him this week.
What's his name?
Zhang.
What's his first name?
XN June.
Exit in June.
Zhang.
I think it's like Xinjun. Xinjun Zhang.
Xinjun Zhang at 6,900.
Yeah, how can you not like the Corn Ferry Tour stud?
Dude,
How can you not like it?
I mean, his stats all check out, and then
gonna be chalk.
Look, he's probably going to be chalk. Golly, the guy the fall swing for him.
Been pretty good.
Houston, 16th at the Shriners, 7th at the Safeway, made the cut at the Sanderson Farms with a 60th place finish.
Yeah,
this guy has been on fire, so I love him at 6,900. You might even play that guy in cash. I mean, I'm serious. He's just been that solid. If you check out with your stats, your form, everything else, and you know what? He's actually played this tournament a ton.
Yep.
As well. He's played the last 4 years. Now he hasn't finished better than T21 in 2017, but I think you're getting a better player right now. So I think that price at 6,900 is fantastic. He's literally my number one guy here in the 6K range. And look, he may be chalky, but I'll play him. I don't care.
Well, I mean, we always know, like, even in the 6K, you can't get too chalky because people will avoid the range altogether. But I do think there's some good value here. I think Xinjun will definitely he'll be over 10%, but he's not going to be like 20, so he's not going to be super chalk. But I actually love the first three guys. I love Zhang, I love Kurt Kitayama, and I love Bubba Watson. Kitayama is a European Tour player you might be able to get a little edge on as well. Finished 4th a couple weeks ago at the French Open, 3rd at the Italian Open, 14th at Wentworth back in September. He's got some form over there on the European Tour, Kurt Kitayama. So just GPP only, maybe large GPPs. I wouldn't play him in like a single entry or a 3 max or something like that. Like only in like mass multi-entry tournaments on DraftKings or FanDuel. But then Bubba, like he shot 69, 68, 75 on round 4 of the Zozo to finish 51st. So you look at it and you're like, not that great. But I mean, in terms of checking boxes, we all know the boxes that Bubba checks. He checks a lot of the boxes. He won here in 2015, like you mentioned, over Tim Clark. Hasn't been back in a couple years. But I feel like this is an interesting spot for Bubba, and it's $6,800. The par 5 scoring potential, the short par 4. He's already over there. He's accustomed to what's going on. He's hopefully his gut's right. He's not like, I don't know, like throwing up octopus foot or whatever it is. I don't know what octopus foot is. That just came out.
What the hell is that?
He's 110.
Do octopus have feet?
No, I don't think so. They're just tentacles, right? That's what I mean. I don't know where octopus foot came from. Things I never thought I'd hear on our own podcast. Do octopus have feet? He is 110 to 1 on my bookie. That's a lot in a 78-man field for Bubba Watson. Like, that's just a lot. You put a little quarter unit at minimum on that number. Zhang, by the way, 90 to 1, kind of like that. And I'm going to go with Kokrak at 125 to 1. We talked about it being a bomber's paradise. Now, Zozo should have been a bomber's paradise after the information we received from our caddy friend. But it was his first event over there. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. In 2017, he did play here, finished 16th. But he checks the boxes too. Off the tee, par 5, strokes gained approach, opportunities gained. And I think some folks may come off of him after the poor finish last week. I don't know. We'll see. But I like Kokrak and Bubba. Give me those high-scoring bombers that spend most of their time on the PGA Tour amidst a lot of players that play in weaker fields down there in the 6K. And I think you have an advantage there. I think you have an edge. I think I would play Bubba in cash. In fact, I will play Bubba in cash. So there you go.
Well, my other guy that I was going to talk about was Kokrak, so I'm with you there. I think he's definitely a good play. The other one that I think could end up being maybe a sneaky low-end play is Justin Harding at 6,600.
He's a bomber.
I think he could be a decent play here. I hasn't played great lately, but I mean, he did have a 7th place finish just a couple weeks ago at the Spanish Open. So I think he was 7th at the Spanish Open a couple weeks ago. So I like Justin Harding. Other than that, that's about it. That's all I got.
I do have a few names for the Bermuda. Do you have any names for the Bermuda or no?
I do not. I did not have time.
Baseball, yeah. You were too busy getting in a fight. Well, I will say this before we get into it. MyBookie.ag is where we go to bet, where we've been going to bet for 3 years now. Over 700 of you guys have gone and bet on MyBookie.ag with our promo code Tour Junkies, and they are taking care of each and every one of you. And right now, because it's NFL season, and that's it's a big deal, you get a 100% deposit bonus for anything you put in up to $1,000. Anything you deposit over there on MyBookie.ag. Come bet with us. That's where we bet. Literally, that's where we bet every single week. It's where we put our money. We've both withdrawn from there. We both made multiple deposits from there. It is a good time, and the golf offerings are about to get lit in January. We're going to have some brand new golf offerings from MyBookie. So go ahead and get in early on the action. You do have to deposit at least $50 when you get started. If you don't deposit $50, you don't get any Tour Junkies credit. So, and it doesn't help us out. So just deposit $50, okay? Let's get on. Let's get the show on the road. MyBookie.ag, promo code Tour Junkies. I found a few folks that I like for the Bermuda. Now, the Bermuda is a brand new alternate field event. We've not seen it before. It is obviously in Bermuda. It is being played on Port Royal Golf Club. It is very much a resort course.
If they aren't playing on Bermuda greens here, then I don't want any part of it.
Actually, I didn't even look to see that. They probably are. Resort course, very coastal. Par 71. Get this, 6,828 yards. Ladies and gentlemen,
God Almighty! I'm playing this week. I'm going to Bermuda.
Yeah,
I think I can contend.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Corn Ferry event, is what this is.
6,800 yards.
Yeah. Now there's only a handful of par 4s over 400. There's a lot of them less than that. You got your all gettable par 5s. The yardage is made up in the par 3s. All the par 3s are lengthy, so you're just going to need to make pars on the par 3s, but then birdie like no other on the rest of the holes.
If you're I have not done any research, as I've mentioned, but if you're wanting to do your own research and not just listen to us, just go check the field and check the good wedge players. That's all you need to know. Play those guys and the scores, and you're gonna win all the money.
It's not a bad take. Yeah, I'm going with bombers, ball strikers, higher pedigree guys, and guys that scored in bunches on the Corn Ferry for sure. So to start it off, I'm looking at Sepp Straka and Robbie Shelton at 40-1 each. Harry Higgs at 55-1. Hank Lebioda at 90-1. Tyler McCumber, who played really well in the Corn Ferry last year and who's been contending on the PGA Tour this fall season at 100-1. Seamus Power, oh my God, Seamus, at 110-1. I just can't quit him. And then finally, a gentleman who I got to spend some time with on our most recent interview, Mr. Sebastian Kaplan, who I talked to him about what kind of player he is, and he says, man, I'm an aggressive player. I'm calculated aggressive. I'm a bomber. I'm a ball striker. Well, here we go, and he's at 200-1. If you can find an each-way number on Sebastian Kaplan at 200-1, I really like that. Each way 5 or 8 ways maybe. You can thank me for that one later, but I think Sebastian could have a good event here. Maybe it's a little biased because I really like the kid after talking to him for a little bit, but I think that's an interesting little play there. Unfortunately, DraftKings is going to have really crappy contests for the Bermuda, so there's no point in going through that. But from a betting standpoint, I think you can definitely get into that and probably gain a little bit of an edge. I would not bet the shorter guy, like even your Scotty Schefflers, like it's just such a weak field top to bottom, and with it being the scoring fest, anybody can pop up and have a big week. So I wouldn't touch anybody below that 40-1 number. I just don't think it's worth it. So
yeah, I kind of tuned out for a minute there, but yeah. I want to mention one other guy that I've liked, and just because I think he's a scorer, and you and I have met him before, and I think he's probably overlooked because of who his dad is, and his dad is not a bomber or anything like that. But Tyler McCumber at 100-1.
You clearly did check out because I just fucking said his name.
Did you really?
Yeah, in fact, I even stopped on his name, and I said, yeah, actually a guy who played really well on the web.com last year and is playing really well on the PGA Tour lately,
funny.
Tyler McCumber.
Literally, out of all the players in this field, I'm scrolling here. Like, tonight, I'm scrolling. Like, that's why I'm tuned out, because I'm scrolling through all the players.
God.
I'm sitting there, like, not listening to you, not listening to you, not listening to you. Tyler McCumber, 100 to 1. I kind of like that. So,
well, there you go.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
It really is. Yeah.
Have another one, Pat. Hey, I think because you did that, you should. I think you should have to sing your Tiger Woods song to celebrate Tiger's 82nd victory, tying Sam Snead.
Oh gosh, well I gotta.
Oh, there's the key.
Okay. Oh, Tiger Woods, the return to glory. Tiger Woods.
Yes, it's our favorite.
Was that good?
That was very good. That was very good. Thank you for that. Oh, man.
Big fan. Tiger Woods. Love him. 82 victories. He's going to get 83 this year. Or 2020.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
By the way, he can go ahead and pick himself for the President's Cup.
Yeah. I think you're going to have to go ahead and commit to doing that after every victory, as long as the Tour Junkies is around.
I'll probably do that.
I think it's a good thing we get going. It's like a Thanksgiving tradition.
Did you create that tweet, by the way, like with my mouth going?
I did not. I wish I was talented enough to have done that, but I had to contract that one out.
I thought you did it. I was impressed, but now I'm not.
No, I did not. Yep, it was a good event. Obviously, he did win a Dyson bladeless vacuum cleaner trophy, which was cool. Other than that, man, yeah, not a whole lot to go on that. You guys got to check out the Sebastian Kaplan interview. I'm telling you, like I say this before, but he's not a name that's going to attract a lot of people. But he gave me 50 minutes. Pat was unavailable. He gave me like 55 minutes of just great content. He won the Rex Hospital Open on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. He's from Denmark. He played his collegiate golf at Arkansas. Really sharp kid and wide open, man. Like just an open book. We had a great conversation. We talked about some great stuff. He gave us a little insight into his PGA Tour rookie orientation class that he had to go to, and talked a little bit about sports betting. We heard a funny story about Lanto Griffin, Mark Hubbard, and a love triangle there with the Zurich Classic. And I'll tell you, my favorite part is the ready golf moment that we had is near the end, and he's going to possibly troll Bryson DeChambeau for us. So I'm just telling you, check out the Sebastian Kaplan interview and support him. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him on Instagram. Great young kid. Just really like the guy a lot. It's going to be easy to pull for him. So go check that out. It's good stuff. Also, I videoed that interview. Now, Sebastian is not on screen, but if for you YouTubers that like to listen on YouTube, it is now uploaded on our YouTube channel, and you can watch basically me, and you can listen to it from there. But Sebastian had me interview him at like 9 in the morning on a Saturday after the Friday night where I was with the member guest hungover.
It's one of the reasons that I was not able to make this.
I was not in a fantastic spot. I looked like crap, and I was ill prepared. But because Sebastian was such a good interviewee, he made it easy. So you can just take a peek at that on our YouTube channel. Speaking of our YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please. We need the subscriptions on the YouTube channel. All the podcasts are being put up on the YouTube channel, and every Friday we're dropping a 10-minute best of the Tour Junkies podcast on there, so you can recap all the fun stuff, take a look back at our picks, and any hilarity that may have ensued in the podcast world. So check that out. We need the YouTube support. So at Tour Junkies on YouTube, that would be nice.
Let me cut you off real quick.
Yeah, please do. Please cut me off.
Because we've done a ton of interviews, and I feel like just in the history of all the interviews that we've done, which have been fantastic. We've had some great players on, from top guys like Brooks Koepka all the way down to whoever you want to talk to. I'm not saying Sebastian Kaplan. He's not
Kaplan.
Kaplan, whatever. He's a great player, whatever. But you got to listen to these interviews. I mean, Joel Damon and Gino, great interview, but they give you some good insight that actually can help you with your lineups in fantasy. If you actually listen to these interviews, they're really good. Yeah. And I feel like they just don't, like, they're underrated.
Very underrated. A lot of good stuff,
and they know more about golf than we do. They're on the they're playing in these tournaments, and the questions that we ask get some good insight out of them for as far as when you're looking at just playing guys. So I don't know. I think you got to go listen to these guys and listen to these interviews.
I think we have a lot of DFS hardos. You know, they just want to like listen for the DFS.
They want to just get our picks, and I'm like, just
you're gonna pick up some nuggets if you listen to some of these player interviews, and you're gonna be entertained, and you're gonna have a better appreciation for the guy that we're interviewing. So, and actually, we got a couple good ones in the hopper that we'll probably be releasing here pretty soon too. So you want to check that out. Pat, that's all I got. You ready to get into a new segment tonight?
Yeah, let's go. Man,
new segment
good
tonight, and it is.
I'm feeling hot tonight.
Woo! It is by listener request, a brand new segment called In Real Life. And what it means is, me and Pat are just going to tell you about what's going on in our real lives outside of Tour Junkies. Again, hey, this was a listener recommended segment that we thought could be entertaining. Hopefully it is. If it's not, we'll very rarely do it again. But in real life, we're going to try to talk about some things going on. I definitely think we should lead. I don't want to bury the lead. We need to lead with Pat's near altercation that happened just before the podcast recording tonight. Pat, why don't you hit us with that? And what else is going on in your real life?
Yeah, a lot going on right now in the fall. This is a busy time in my life. But yeah, so we have the playoffs we're heading into the playoffs for baseball. So I've talked about baseball.
How old are the kids?
These kids are between 8 and like 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
Maybe 9. Let's see.
I think it's probably 8, 9. I don't think you have a whole lot of 8-year-olds playing baseball with 11-year-olds.
No, there is 11-year-olds in here. I'm serious. There's a freaking.
You got Danny Almonte on your team? Does his birth certificate say he's 11?
Not on our team, but there's a kid we're going against on Wednesday that is literally probably in middle school, but I don't know. I could be wrong. The kid can throw some heat. But anyway, so this is the fall. So we're in fall baseball. Like, when do you typically play baseball when you start? You play in the
boys
spring,
of summer.
Right?
Boys of summer.
Yeah, summer, spring, whatever. So not a whole lot of people in this league right now. There's 4 teams in our division, which is kid pitch, and my son's playing kid pitch for the first time ever. So I volunteered to be a coach, and I was actually one of the head coaches when it was coach pitch, but now I'm just kind of like.
Oh, now you're just a piss-on coach?
I'm just a piss-on athlete.
Yeah. You're the drunk coach, the drunk first base coach?
No, well, I don't drink during games. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and I get there, and Alan, my son, is out, and he plays left field. He starts in left field, and he's a decent player, but he's the youngest player, one of the youngest players on the team, and he's got a lot to learn. And so he was if you've never been in Savannah, the sand gnats here absolutely destroy you. They're awful. They're awful. So he was like, I need some bug spray, Dad. So I went to the truck and came back, and so I'm spraying some bug spray on him. And he's out in left field while this is happening. Well, unbeknownst to me, they're doing some kind of drill where he's supposed to be backing up the third baseman. Well, he knows how to do that. But at this time, he had missed. He wasn't paying attention before. And then it happened again while I'm spraying him. Well, the coach just lays into Alan about missing this. And I'm literally spraying Alan with bug spray while he's laying into him. And I went the F off. And I said, are you effing kidding me?
Did you cuss in front of the kids?
no. This is what I said to him on the side. So first off, let me finish. I finished spraying him with bug spray. Calm as it ever. The ball is to the fence by that point. I don't care. So I finished that. I walk off and I walk down the third base line. The coach is right there. And now this is also the brother of the guy that we made the head coach. We let him be the head coach because we didn't have time, me and another guy who coached the team last year. Well, he brought his brother in who has a son who plays in college, and his son is obviously a good player, and he's coached for 10 years or so, whatever. So I walked back over to him. I said, look, y'all are getting a little bit too intense for the playoffs here when there are 4 damn teams. I said, these guys aren't going to play well scared. And he stopped me immediately, and he said, I've coached for 10 years. I don't need to hear whatever the shit you have to say. And I said, he said, just walk off. And I said, whoa. What? I'm going to cuss here for a second. Like, this is like, if you got kids and everything, I was like, whoa, what the fuck did you just say to me? You told me to walk off? Did you just tell me to walk off?
He said, get on.
He said, get on. And then he said, but I don't hold any grudges right after that. And I said, okay, well, I know you hold grudges because you got mad at one of the coaches from the opposing teams 2 weeks ago and wouldn't even shake hands with him the following week in a different game.
Ooh.
Your ass holds fucking grudges. I'm going to tell you that right now. Your ass holds grudges. So then, after all of that, my boy, who he and I coached the team back in the spring, texted me. He's like, "Did I just hear what happened?" And I said, "Yeah, that just happened." So he walks over and tells him, he said, "That's uncalled for. Can't believe you just did that." So then I'm sitting there by the dugout, and he's behind the plate. Kind of this guy that I had the altercation with is behind the plate, and he comes over to me, and I thought he was handing me a ball, and he's trying to shake my hand. And so he shakes my hand, and he said, "Look, dude, I'm sorry. I'm a dick. I'm telling you, I'm a dick, and that's just the way." So I was kind of impressed with that. At least he called himself a dick because he fucking is. And I was like, I said, "But you don't hold any grudges. You don't hold any grudges, do you?" And he kind of laughed, and then we played it off and whatever else. But it's just whatever, man. I mean, people get too intense. I realized today that I probably don't need to be coaching baseball, and I just need to be the dad in the stands, and that is what it is. People get way too intense about. I mean, these are 8 and 9-year-olds playing baseball. They need to be taught the game. They don't need to be focused. They don't need coaches that are only focused on winning. And this is where I have a fundamental disagreement with where they are right now. I want to win. I hate to lose. I hate to lose. But when they're at this age, they need more encouragement. They need more coaching than they do winning. I don't think winning teaches you as much as coaching and encouragement does. And I think that's like, look, and you also learn a little bit more from losing than you do, I think, from winning. Mm. I do. Like, if you're just always winning or you're always focused on winning and things like that, I think you can get hurt at this young age with that. And so I feel like this whole fall has been like that for me with this whole coaching deal. And I'm done with it. Like, I don't agree with it. I think that they need to be. Look, you can yell at the kids and do whatever, but teach them. You know, these kids are playing kid pitch for the first time. They never had, real live pitching. They've been coddled with coach pitch where they're just lobbing it up to them or T-ball or whatever. And so it's a fine line, I think. I don't know. I think we probably have listeners who have kids that do the same thing. I think, there is definitely something to be said for tough love. I'm certainly okay with that. You and I get in these arguments sometimes. I'm a big fan of lifting people up, not dragging them down. And I don't know where that.
We get into an argument. We get into an argument because you think I'm not.
Sometimes I think like you pull me down, like you're not a lifter upper.
Yeah, I do.
and I'm kind of that. I'm kind of the one that's like the positive type guy, but I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well,
but literally, we got into words. Like,
I'm glad you didn't have to hit him. That's good, man. Nothing like a good.
If it'd come to blows, I would have gotten destroyed. He's much bigger than me. Like I would have been. Yeah.
That'd have been great if you just sent me a picture of your like busted face. Hey, man, I'm not going to make the show tonight. Got into an argument with my kid's coach.
Isn't kids like you have kids too, but they don't. I don't know. I mean, they play team sports, but it's a weird dynamic with team sports and kids.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think there's just I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. What else is going on, man, in real life? What else you got?
So we had a really cool Halloween party over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You saw this on Facebook.
You did.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Like literally.
By the way, hashtag ban dots. Let's get it started. Pontificate with Pat last week in the Chalk Bomb email. The man brings up a great point. I got to say, I'm laughing every week reading Pontificate with Pat in the Chalk Bomb email. But I got to say, I actually agree with you. Dots are a tease. And I agree. I think hashtag ban dots.
You feel like you're going to get with dots, like you're going to get something as great as Sour Patch Kids, which are literally a fantastic candy.
And you just get shit stuck in your teeth for 4 days.
You just get crap stuck in your teeth, and they don't.
It's like
have
glue. It's like colored glue.
Yeah,
colored teeth glue.
It's terrible. So I think you should ban dots. I don't like dots as a Halloween candy. I think they should be banned from the country, and you shouldn't be able to do them. Do them like drugs, I say. But I'm just saying, look, get rid of dots. I'm done with those. I had a great Halloween party. What else is going on in my life? I got a big green egg. If you're a big green egg person, I got a big green egg over the weekend. I can't wait. If you have any advice, you're listening to the podcast, you've got one of those Komodo or whatever they call them the Komodo. Is that what they call them?
Komodo dragons?
No, but
Pat does fancy himself a expert griller, a good griller.
So very excited about the big green egg.
Yeah.
Outside of that, that's it. Big week for my Bulldogs playing the Gators. I don't think they're going to win, but we'll see. Our offense looks terrible, but we'll see. Could be a good. What about you? I'm interested in your life. You coming off of you had member guests a couple weeks ago. Whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna end with this. We've got a couple big announcements I'm gonna drop here at the end of this. One of them involving you, Pat, also, but. I'll start small. Number one, I think I want a puppy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Like, what kind of puppy do you want?
I think the wife and I have decided we're going to get a French bulldog.
No. I disagree with
this. Why can't I get a puppy?
You can't get a puppy.
Why? Why do you care if I get a puppy or not?
That's a terrible decision. You got 2 kids and you got 3 kids with a very young kid, and you can't get a puppy. I disagree with the decision.
Here's my logic. I love dogs, dude. I'm such a dog. I
have a golden retriever puppy, but he's not. Well, now he's a year.
Yeah, I'm not talking about a puppy like that. We can't handle big dogs in my house because my kids are too small. But first of all, I'm a dog guy. Second of all, the dog we have, Baxter, is a total asshole. He's 11 years old, and he's a Westie, and he's a good dog, but he's kind of not. And I am not capable. I can't be in a house without a dog. When a dog dies, I have to have an immediate dog in its place. And so I'm thinking that Bax is getting old, and I kind of want to slide one in now, so that the transition can be easier. And now he's in perfect health. I'm not speaking anything over him, but he's in perfect health. But I've always wanted another English bulldog. I used to have an English bulldog. He was from Ugga 4's bloodline. Go Dogs. His name was Otis. He was a fantastic dog. He lived to be 11 years old, and but my wife hated him. So she won't let me get an English bulldog, but she likes the French bulldogs a lot, and they're smaller, and it's still at least I get a little bit of the bulldog face, and I don't know. I think we're thinking about it. So there's that. If it happens, it's not happening until like January, February. It's not. They're expensive AF though. If any of our listeners are
that's another thing.
Happen to be French bulldog breeders, hey, I'll hook you up with something. I don't know what. God.
Bulldogs are expensive in general, English or French or whatever.
English or French or Spanish or Italian. I've been, I need to exercise more. I keep feeling that, I just keep feeling the old age. I'll be 36 in December, in about 2 months. I just need to exercise more. I feel, I got that going on. I do feel like I'm on the verge of a golf game breakthrough. I feel like I've made significant strides in consistency. My scores haven't gotten, like my low scores haven't gotten lower, but my high scores have gotten lower. You know what I mean? Like my ceiling has come down, and now it's a smaller. You know what I mean? And
Can I ask you something before you go into this?
Yeah.
Have you always buttoned the top button on your? Is that like always been a thing for you?
Not always, but I tend to do that with some Bad Birdie shirts.
Okay, I'm sorry. I get distracted easily.
I just got vodka up my nose. You want me to unbutton it for you? You want me to take it down a button?
Yeah, take it down a button. Relax a little bit.
Yeah, I just think I'm on the verge of a golf game break. I think that's coming. I had my wedge fitting I talked about a couple weeks ago. I just feel like that's coming. But the biggest news, Pat, that involves you as well, that we have not announced to our listeners just yet, is that in a couple of weeks, you and I will be PGA Tour credentialed media at the RSM Classic. Way to go, us. Way to go, us. Hey, Pat, good job. Good job, bud.
Bang. I think it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited about it. I think the players are going to love us.
Of course. Why wouldn't they?
We're going to be asking them some stuff that people don't ask normally. Because they're not DFS/gambling related questions. And I'm excited about being in the press room with Zach Johnson or whoever, Kevin Kisner up there, and being like, what do you do, by the way? Like, do you raise your hand? Like, how do you get your question answered? Do you say, just do a little quick raise of your hand?
You got to do it more casual. You got to do one of these.
But everybody knows if you've ever seen, nobody's probably seen the video of me in Paris raising hand. I'm a very good hand raiser and getting people's attention that way. But do they have buttons for you that you press?
I doubt it. At the RSM, I highly doubt it.
Yeah. So I'm excited about doing all that.
Yeah, we're excited, man. For listeners, none of the listeners really know this. We've never talked about it. A couple years ago, we applied for media credentials to the RSM, and we were turned down rather swiftly, as they were like, "Oh no, you do
with
DFS,
a quick clause.
DFS and gambling. See clause 54.3.-2. You guys are scum of the earth." And we were like, "Okay, well, see you later." And so we didn't do it again. We didn't apply. We didn't care. Whatever. Last year, we get on the web.com list, and I think it was really just oversight because the web.com they don't really look at stuff.
Care.
But then when the PGA Tour announced their relationship with DraftKings in the summer, it was like, hey, let's try it again. So we tried again. Guess what? We got approved. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to be there all day Tuesday and Wednesday, trying to get as much information on the golf course, that will impact our listeners as much as possible. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be a new season for us. It's going to be a lot of good stuff. Now, we are going to have to behave. I mean, we can't go in there and just cause a ruckus in our first time. We're never going to get invited back. It's like going to meet the parents for the first time at like Thanksgiving dinner. You got to make a good impression. You can't get too out over your skis. You got to be chill. Pat's got that glazed look on his eye. He's not. I'm
thinking of.
Yeah, of course you are. You're not listening to anything I'm saying.
No, I'm listening to you, but I'm thinking about like some of the players we know, like Kiz or whoever else. Like if we're in the press room and like them taking us seriously, like if we ask, I feel like there's going to be some funny answers to the questions like that might get out there on like the
It'd be great.
Tournament. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, they're not letting us take any video of players, which is really sucky. So we can talk to the players, we can relay information back to you, but we can't video the players. We can video the golf course, but we can't video players. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited about it. It's a big deal for us. And then immediately after that Wednesday in real life, I'm leaving to go to South Africa for the first time. I've never been. My wife has been 9 times with our nonprofit, putting wells in the ground for people who need clean water in Africa. So I'm going for the very first time. I always stay back with the kids, and it's always scary to stay back with the kids. But now I'm finding out it's also scary to actually go to Africa and leave the kids behind. So I'm doing that. It'll be a 10-day trip, and it's my first time. It's going to be interesting. We're going to a well site that we put the first well in the ground 3 years ago. So we're going to go back to that site and see how it's impacted those people. And then we're going to go to a new site and put a new well in the ground. And, yeah, should be a lot of fun. So that's happening literally the day after I leave the RSM. I will be heading to South Africa. It should be a good time. In trips past, I've sent a bunch of Tour Junkies T-shirts. So I know a few people over there that are rocking some TJ T-shirts.
So I need to ship you the Patrick Reed Tiger Woods shirt.
Yeah.
Before you go.
Yeah, and a couple years ago,
we have a lot of those, and I would like them to get out of mine.
Yeah, we do. So a couple of the people over there, the leaders over there, I've actually met before when they came to the States one time, and they thought it was very interesting about Tour Junkies. So actually, a couple years ago, I sent a set of golf clubs and a bunch of golf balls and a bag to them, and they've never played golf before. So I'll get to go and kind of hit some balls with them, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. That's happening for me right after the RSM. So that's in real life for DB. There we go. Good show, guys.
I enjoyed that show immensely, DB.
I think TJ After Dark could be electric tonight for DraftKings.
Are we going to start that soon, or are we going to?
Yeah, we should start that soon. All right. Thanks for thanks for watching and stuff. Thanks for listening. It's a great show. Check out the Sebastian Kaplan interview. May your screens be green and all that fun stuff. Right, Pat? Right?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. See ya.
Out.
Tour Junkies.